Age 50 isn't like any other milestone in life. It's not loud like youth, not blazing like the climb to success. Age 50 is when you stand in the middle of life and realize there's no one behind you to catch you anymore. Your parents are gone or frail. Your wife may have drifted away. Your kids have their own lives. Your career has plateaued. Your health starts to wave red flags. And worst of all, you start to feel invisible. No one says your name. No one checks in. No one needs you. It's like you've been quietly pushed out of the game, even though you're still alive, still breathing. If you feel that, then this video is for you. Because at 50, either you learn the discipline to stand on your own, or you slowly destroy yourself in silence. Don't scroll away. Watch to the end. Not because I have some clever advice, but because I've fallen into that dark hole myself, and I pulled myself out. Maybe my story will be the small light that helps you take the next step through your own darkness. What you're about to hear next could change the way you see your entire life. Hit subscribe, like, and stay with me, because the final minutes will be the most important. At some point, you'll realize there's no one left standing behind you, no one to catch you when you stumble. And that realization doesn't hit in a single day. It bleeds out slowly, quietly, relentlessly. You start noticing your parents are no longer strong. The ones who used to carry you now need to be guided with each step, soothed with each pill, answered with the same question a dozen times. Their kids? They've grown. They have their own lives, their own plans, their own world, and you're no longer in it. You used to be the one they looked up to. Now you're the one they text back late or not at all. Sometimes you go days without a single conversation, and the woman who once promised to walk beside you for life, sometimes when you look at her, it feels like there's nothing left in her eyes for you. Maybe she's already left, or maybe she's still there, living under the same roof. But between you, there's a silence no one speaks of. You eat together but no longer talk, sleep together but no longer dream. And suddenly it hits you, no one needs you anymore. The deepest pain isn't being hated, it's being forgotten. It's the cold silence when you walk through the door and no one looks up. It's the moments when you want to speak but have no one to speak to. So you stop, and from that moment on, everything inside starts to die. No one sees it, but you know it. Men at this age don't break from a single blow. They break from 1,000 small cuts repeated over time. Like eating alone in what used to be a warm kitchen. Like never hearing "how was your day" anymore. Like waking up in the middle of the night and realizing there's no one to share your restlessness with. And slowly you start to retreat. Not from others, but from your own life. And the most terrifying part, you're still alive, still working, still shaking hands, still replying to emails, but inside, ashes. A graveyard of who you used to be, and a hollow echo of what you've become. Stoicism calls this the collapse of identity. When your sense of worth is tied entirely to being needed, the moment you're not, you disappear from your own mind. Epictetus warned, "We are not disturbed by events, but by our interpretation of them." You believed your name only had value when someone else called it. So when no one does, you vanish. But the truth is, you're still here. You've just never learned how to stand without leaning on someone else. And now, you must. No one's gonna catch you anymore. So it's time to learn to stand. On your own 2 feet. With the same back that once carried a family, you now have to carry yourself out of the dark. It won't be easy, but it's the only way. Because if you don't stand up, you'll be swallowed whole by this invisibility. No one's coming to save you. And don't blame them. They're busy living their lives. Yours, that's your responsibility now. And once you finally lift your head, stand up, and hold firm, you'll realize the hardest part isn't walking. It's walking while carrying the weight. Because what's next, what haunts every man at 50, isn't just loneliness, it's money. Money, it's not the most important thing. But at some point, it becomes the one thing that determines whether you can hold your peace or not. At 50, money isn't about ambition anymore. It's about survival. How do you pay off debt? How do you keep your kid in college? How do you care for your aging parents going through dialysis every week? How do you afford insurance? How do you make sure there's something left if you drop dead tomorrow? That fear, it doesn't hit like a storm. It leaks, slow and steady, like a dripping faucet in the middle of the night. Each drop echoes in your mind. You lie in bed, lights off, thinking you'll sleep, but your brain starts calculating. What bills are due next month? How do I cover this? What's left in the account? What if I lose my job? And like that, sleep vanishes. All that's left is a man staring at the ceiling, back aching, heart pounding, with no one to tell. You used to think, it's fine, I'll make more. Sure, when you were 30, but now, no one's hiring a 50-something with outdated experience in a world where tech evolves monthly. Starting over isn't easy. Reinventing yourself isn't simple. Launching something new from scratch isn't quick, not with mouths to feed, debts piling up, a worn-out body, a weaker heart, and a soul chipped away by failure after failure. And the worst part? You don't dare complain, because you're a man. Complaining is weakness. Complaining is pathetic. Say something and all you get is, hang in there, man, and they go right back to their own lives. No one sees the humiliation of pulling from savings just to fill your tank. No one sees the ache of holding a utility bill you're not sure you can pay. No one sees you calculating at the market, putting back the steak you want for a cheaper bag of noodles. Stoicism calls this attachment to externals. Money, it's not something you can ever fully control. Markets change, jobs change, people change. But what you can control is how you see it and how you respond. Marcus Aurelius said it plainly, if something is beyond your control, don't let it control your peace. But let's be real, that's hard. Hard to stay calm when your fridge is empty. Hard to stay grounded when every phone call might be a creditor. Hard to sit and meditate on Stoic wisdom when all you see are negative numbers in your mind. But precisely because it's hard, that's why it demands strength. No one says you have to be rich. No one says you need to be wildly successful at 50. But if you let scarcity break you, if you let money drag your dignity into the dirt, then you're already destroying yourself. No one else has to. Financial freedom, you may not have it yet, but freedom from fear of money? That's something you can start training for today. Cut down, simplify, accept your reality, stop chasing what used to make you proud. And most of all, don't feel ashamed for struggling. Being broke isn't a flaw. Refusing to adapt while silently drowning? That's the mistake. By now, no one is coming to catch you. You're carrying the burden of finances. But it doesn't stop there. What's next is even more silent, more dangerous, and far more likely to destroy you. Your body, once strong, once unstoppable, is now cracking quietly in places you didn't see coming. Health, it's the one thing you never paid attention to until it started leaving you behind. Back then, you could run on 4 hours of sleep, eat like crap, and still bulldoze through deadlines like a machine. But now, one late night and your whole body falls apart. Your back starts aching, your joints are stiff, your eyes blur, your head spins. Blood pressure drops, blood sugar spikes, fatty liver, high cholesterol, hypertension, ailments you once thought only happened to old people. They're calling your name, one by one. You climb the stairs and feel your heart pounding like you ran a marathon. You bend down to tie your shoes and have to brace your back like you're lifting weights. You stand in front of the mirror, see your gut pushing out, your face pale, your eyes sunken, and ask, what the hell happened to me? You don't need an answer. You already know. This isn't just about a sore knee or a stiff joint. This is your body cracking. And it's not going to kill you outright. It lets you live while slowly walking you toward the end, step by step. Quiet, but certain. And the most haunting part? Knowing you're breaking down while still having to power through. Power through work, power through bills, power through pain so no one sees you slipping. Power through to the point where even breathing feels heavy. But you stay quiet, you grit your teeth, because you think, I'm a man, I don't get to fall. Wrong, that thought is killing you. Seneca said, we do not fear pain, but the sense of losing control when in pain. The real fear isn't the physical hurt. It's the helplessness of realizing the body that once fed your family is now the burden you carry every day. What makes it worse? Stress, pressure, anxiety. These are the roots. You can take pills for a headache, but there's no prescription for a brain constantly screaming, collapse is coming. There's no cure for the mental exhaustion that comes from fearing every single day. What if I can't keep going tomorrow? Stoicism addresses this clearly. Epictetus, who lived with a crippled leg, said, "The body may break, but the mind, if trained, cannot be bent by any man." The problem isn't that your body is sick. The problem is what you choose to do about it. You can wallow, you can curse life and ask, "Why me?" Or you can accept this is the body you have and start living differently. Cut the booze, cut back the beer, move your body, sleep on time, stop forcing everything, stop being stubborn, and most of all, stop treating your body like it's expendable. No one can do this for you. No doctor can save you if you still live the same way. No supplement can rescue a man who drinks nightly because he can't sleep from stress. Only you can decide, either change or drag this shell around until it collapses without warning. And once your body starts to give in, your career won't be far behind. That moment when you realize society no longer needs you, when you no longer hold your old position, when no one calls your name in a meeting, that's when your identity starts to crumble. And that is the next pain. One that doesn't bleed, but drains your will to keep going. This isn't just a video. This is the reminder you needed today. Hit subscribe and like if you want someone in your corner pushing you to live by your real values. Everything that once made your name now feels worthless. You used to be the decision maker. People listened when you spoke. You walked into meetings, people stood to greet you. Your name had weight. It came with results, respect, and presence. But somewhere along the way, that all began to slip, like sand through your fingers. Technology evolves every month. The young ones come in using terms you've never heard. They work faster, sharper, speak as if you're from a different era. You once led them, now you're sitting through their training sessions. They don't disrespect you intentionally. They just don't need you anymore. And suddenly you feel outdated. You try to catch up. You try to learn, to stay relevant. But the more you try, the more exhausted you feel. Eventually, you start to withdraw, slowly. No one fires you, but you know you're being phased out. No one asks your opinion anymore. No one gives you major projects. You're no longer invited to strategy sessions. Some days, you sit in the office all day, and the only words spoken to you are, "Good morning." That feeling, it doesn't kill you immediately. It hollows you out. It makes you not want to get out of bed. Not from laziness, but because you know you're just showing up to be present. Your career, once your stage for significance, has become a reminder that your value has expired. And that feeling cuts deeper than any insult. Because it's quiet. It doesn't slap you across the face. It whispers in your ear every day, your time is up. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Fame, at its core, is the echo of other people's voices, bouncing in the head of someone desperate to be acknowledged." You're hurt not because you failed, but because you tied your self-worth to your title, your chair, and other people's applause. But your career isn't your identity, it was just a role. That role may end, but you, the man, are still here. The real question is, are you willing to leave the stage and start living without the mask? Epictetus once said, "Don't wish to stay in a high position. Learn to live with dignity in whatever position you're in." At this age, you've got nothing left to prove. You don't need to compete with the kids. You don't need to be called boss to feel valuable. What you need is to find a reason to keep walking, without waiting for someone to point the way. Maybe you'll need to change fields. Maybe start from scratch. Maybe accept work that's less glamorous than before. But if you still get to work, still get to contribute, then nothing is lost. Losing direction doesn't mean losing your future. It just means the old road ended, and it's time to draw a new map. With clearer eyes, no illusions. Eyes that accept, I may not be at the top anymore, but I'm still alive. And living right is worth more than any title. But even after the crash of career, health, and money, there's a deeper wound. One not inflicted from outside, but from the cold creeping inside you. That moment when you feel invisible in your own home. That's when loneliness begins to eat you from within. until you barely recognize the man in the mirror. There's a kind of pain that destroys a man without leaving a single scar. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't scream, it just slowly erodes his pride, drop by drop, like acid eating through steel. That pain is the feeling of being useless. You're still alive, still breathing, but no one truly needs you anymore. No one asks what you think. No one depends on you. No one sees you as the backbone, the decision maker, the anchor. You sit at the dinner table and no one cares if you join the conversation. You speak and people nod out of politeness, then move on. You give input and they dismiss it as outdated or irrelevant. So you stop. Not because you're mad, but because you realize you have nothing left they want to hear. You used to be the one people turned to for decisions. Your kids used to ask, "Dad, what do you think?" Your wife used to look to you and say, "What should we do?" Now those questions are gone. No one needs your guidance. No one is waiting for you to show up. And the hardest part isn't that they've left you behind. It's that you still have so much to offer, but no one's interested in receiving it. This isn't loneliness from the absence of people. It's the emptiness of no longer being part of their lives. You live in the same house, share the same meals, hear their voices in the next room, but no one talks to you. You're there, but not seen, present, but invisible. And the worst part? You start to believe it. You look at yourself, a 50-year-old man with fading health, a career that's lost momentum, a dwindling bank account, struggling to keep up with a world that's racing ahead, and you ask, does anyone still need me? And you don't have an answer. Stoicism calls this the loss of your inner citadel, the collapse of your internal stronghold, when you let your worth be defined by how others see you, when you can't feel valid unless someone tells you that you matter. But Epictetus made it clear, others can take your title, your position, your wealth, but only you can strip away your inner value. What you need to reclaim isn't your old job title, your influence, or your voice in the family. What you need is the core inside you that quietly says, I'm still here, I still exist, and I can still give, even if no one's asking for it. Because true worth doesn't come from applause, it comes from action, from waking up and showing up every single day, from doing what's right, whether it's acknowledged or not, from continuing to care, even if no one cares back. Marcus Aurelius once said, whether the world remembers us or not, what matters is that every act leaves a mark on our soul. That's what you hold on to. You're not alone because there's no one around. You're alone because you forgot that the man you used to be is still in there, waiting for you to remember his name, and when you do, he'll return. But to bring him back, you'll have to face one last truth, the most brutal, the most masculine, and the most terrifying. What do you do when the world keeps moving forward and starts treating you like you're no longer relevant? That isn't loneliness. That's being left behind. And it breaks a man faster than anything else ever could. Not everyone has the patience to watch until the end. But those who do are always the ones who go further than the rest. If you're one of them, subscribe and like. We're on the same team. When you hit rock bottom, no one behind you, finances drained, health in decline, career fading, no one listening, no one needing you, you'll come to a hard truth. No one's coming to save you. Not your wife, not your kids, not your coworkers, not God, just you. And the only question left is how. For me, there's only one real way out: Stoicism. Stoicism doesn't teach you how to get rich. It doesn't teach you how to win back your glory days. It doesn't sell you hope. It forces you to face reality, clear, cold, and without illusions. And from there, builds you into the kind of man who won't collapse again, no matter how brutal life gets. Epictetus, a slave with a broken leg, said it best, "You can shackle my body, but you'll never chain my mind." That's real freedom. Not financial freedom, not freedom of time, but freedom from everything this world says you need in order to live. The first thing you have to do is learn the difference between what you can control and what you can't. In Stoicism, this is called the dichotomy of control. You can't fully control money. Markets shift, people betray, emergencies hit. You can't stop aging, but you can control how you eat, sleep, and move. You can't guarantee your old job title or position, but you can choose how you learn, how you adapt, and how you rebuild. You can't make people love or respect you, but you can always control how you show up. Once that line is clear, half the weight drops off your shoulders, because you stop trying to fix what's not yours to fix. You come back to the one thing no one can ever take from you, your mind. That's why Marcus Aurelius, emperor, surrounded by war, betrayal, plagues, was still able to write Meditations, a journal filled with calm, clarity, and purpose. Because he understood, the mind is your last fortress. Hold that, and no one can touch you. Next, you rebuild inner strength, not through blind faith, but through disciplined action. Wake up early, even if it's just for a 15-minute walk. Cut out pointless spending, and pay down the damn debt. Learn a new skill, even from zero. Talk to your kids, not to beg for affection, but to understand where they're at. Write down your fears, so you can see they're not as big as they feel. Bit by bit, you start taking back control. Not to impress anyone, just so helplessness stops running your life. Seneca once said, "We don't suffer from poverty, but from the belief that we don't deserve it. We don't suffer from rejection, but from believing we must always be loved." It's the expectation that breaks you, not reality. So let it go, not out of defeat, but out of clarity. Let go of the illusion that people will always need you, that you'll always be strong, always be rich, always be respected. Let it go so you're light enough to keep walking. And you'll see, once you stop chasing validation, you start living with more honesty. Quietly but deeply. You find gratitude in a simple meal. You appreciate a little morning sun. You cherish even the smallest hug from your kid. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're finally present enough to notice it. That's when you start living. Not surviving, living. Not performing, not pleasing. Just being true. You live like a man who's shed his old identity. Not a victim of fate, but the author of his own story. That's Stoicism. It doesn't promise success. It offers one thing, inner freedom. And for me, that's enough. Because once you reclaim your own mind, even if nothing else improves, nothing can break you anymore. And that's the real win. Not beating others, but mastering yourself. And if you've made it this far, don't stop. Because there's one last thing you have to do. Reach back for someone else. You're not the only man who's ever fallen, and sometimes one honest sentence can stop another man from disappearing in silence. If any of this hits home, I want to say this: you're not alone. I've sat in that darkness too, heart pounding, mind racing, no idea what to do next. I've thought, maybe I'm done. Maybe this is it. But one question pulled me back. No advice, no quote, just this: if I don't get up, who the hell will do it for me? No one. And that's when I knew I had to live. Not survive, live right. So if you're in that same darkness now, say something, drop a comment, just one line. I'm still moving forward, because somewhere another man is ready to give up, and maybe your words will remind him he's not alone. Subscribe, not for views, but because we need a space where men get to tell the truth. No fake toughness, no hiding tears, just honesty, and that's enough. We're not waiting for a savior. We just need each other. As men who've fallen and figured out how to rise, because no one's coming to save us at 50. So we save ourselves, and one day we become the man who pulls someone else out of the same pit. Simple as that, but that's how we survive, together.